Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Season 3 and what I think is the final season of Squid Game. So let's roll that intro and get straight into the video. So before I get into reviewing Season 3, I first want to cover what I think of Season 1 and 2. Season 1 was a really big surprise, kind of came out of nowhere. I thoroughly enjoyed the concept and the season itself. The idea that these innocent seeming kids games can have this kind of brutal and grotesque and gory spin on them to make them very dark and sinister. Absolutely fantastic. I love that concept, and it kept me engaged in the whole series, and I didn't expect there to be a season 2 as I was quite satisfied with the ending of that show, but throughout I thoroughly enjoyed it and became a big fan of it. Season 2 I was skeptical about, especially the beginning, and I felt that it took a little while to get into. The first 2 episodes were good and had really good moments, but it took me a little while until I got back into the swing of things. Then when you meet the characters and you get back into the games again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Season 2, for me, the standout is the characters and all these different relationships. I feel that they really improved on that. I felt much more engaged with a lot of these different characters and their relationships and the different things that were going on in Season 2. I like that Season 2 didn't just repeat all the games from Season 1, it created a lot of new and very unique games that were not in Season 1, games that were really interesting to see play out. The only negative I have about Season 2 is, again, some of the pacing at the beginning, and also the ending seemed a little bit abrupt, but I know that's a cliffhanger into Season 3. So, let's get into Season 3. Season 3 starts out very strong. You're seeing a lot of our returning characters in very different places. It's interesting seeing our main protagonist in a much different mind and headspace where you're used to seeing them. Straight away, a lot of the characters who you're supposed to dislike, again, do a brilliant job at being these very dislikable and very good villainous characters. And the first episode is mainly based on building up from where Season 2 left off. But as Episode 1 ends into Episode 2, then it gets into the first game, and that's really exciting. When the first game was explained in Episode 1, I was a little bit confused as to how it would play out, but once they set it all up and established it, it then became very clear. Seeing the game play out, it's very intense, very claustrophobic, and it seemed really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Seeing the difference in our main character as well and what he is doing during this is really fascinating, and it's something I did not expect from this season, seeing that change in him, and it was a really welcome change as well. It felt really intense and uncomfortable, but in a good way. You can't believe that our character is doing this. Another thing to mention during the first sequence in this game is the gore. Again, really surprised me. When you have other shows that overuse gore, you can become a little bit immune to that feeling. But very often I was cringing at certain scenes in this, so the fact that they're able to keep it fresh and interesting is really good. I'm not going to spoil who, but one character trips over their ankle and you hear this horrible snapping and cracking sound as they twist their ankle and fall, and the sound design is just fantastic, and I cringed so much, and it was really, really good that they managed to get that reaction out of me. Nearer the ending of Episode 2, it dawned on me that this is definitely one of the best episodes of Squid Game that I've ever seen. There were so many emotional moments and things that seemed to come out of nowhere that really shock you. I teared up at one point because it managed to bring out a lot of emotion out of me of something I didn't expect. There is a lot of intense chase scenes and different things that shock you, and overall it is amazing. It was so good. Episode 3 starts off really strong. Unfortunately, there's a new plot element brought in, and it's something that I thought that the guards would address or at least comment on, but it doesn't seem to be addressed at this point at the beginning of the episode. That seemed to be a little bit disappointing. So Episode 3 starts off kind of slow, and I think it's definitely the slowest one out of all these episodes so far, After how amazing the second episode was, it feels like the pacing just kind of takes a bit of a halt and a step back. And the main protagonist kind of takes a bit of a backseat, which he almost has for the first 3 episodes. Like, he's still there and he still has some parts that he's involved in, but he doesn't seem to be the main focus. Near the end of episode 3, he steps up, and that is really good to see him become the main focus again. And that's not saying that the side characters and other different plots that are going on aren't interesting, it's just that he's the one that I'm most interested in seeing personally. The other plots that are going on as well as his are very interesting. The plot with the police officer outside of the island is still not very intriguing at this point, but overall the episode is not terrible, but it's not great either. The ending is really good and compelling, and there's a bit of a twist at the end which was quite exciting, and I'm more excited for the episode that follows it than this episode itself. I feel this episode is much more setting up the next episode as well as dealing with what happened after episode 2. The beginning of season 3, episode 4 did not disappoint at all. That was so intense and amazing. I'm not going to spoil what game that they were playing, but it's really good. There's a lot of really good close-up camera shots where you are very close up to different characters' faces, and there's a little bit of shaking, and it represents the kind of fear and what the characters are going through. That was really good. I felt like I was really on the edge of my seat, and I felt my adrenaline going whilst I was watching what these characters were going through, and it was really good and really intense, and it didn't hold back on the gore and the intensity of this particular event. I thought it was really good. As this episode continues, there's parts of it that get really dark, and you're asking yourself lots of questions about, hang on, what does this particular thing mean? Or how does this change the game itself? And it's interesting, but like I said, it gets dark, and some of the characters say some really horrible things and suggestions, and it's quite shocking. The pacing slows down a little bit to make some more time for character development and different conversations, and just a little bit of time for you to kind of think. And it's not bad by any means, it's less engaging than the games itself, but you can't have the games go on all the time, otherwise you just get sick of that. I like the intensity of these different conversations and things that are happening, and it keeps me engaged, and it's quite good. In the B plot, you have the sailor and the police officer looking for his brother. Again, no spoilers, but that becomes more interesting as it goes along. The storyline with the girl who is playing one of the masked soldiers as well also becomes a lot more interesting in this episode, and there's a lot of twists and certain reveals that are very interesting. When it first got revealed in season 2, I thought there was a lot of opportunity there, and it didn't seem to really result in anything major in that season, but this season seems to be better addressing that, and it's really good how it is all playing out, and I'm quite happy about it. The ending of this episode was pretty decent. I liked one of the big reveals at the end, and also with a lot of tension building up about what the next game will be. That is quite interesting, and it leaves you wanting more and thinking about what's next. The start of episode 5 was solid, and it reveals a lot more about the frontman's character, which is a character who's quite intriguing, especially in season 1. He's quite mysterious, doesn't really do much. Season 2, he plays a big part in that, and that's quite intriguing. But to see a lot more of his motivation, and what I hope they reveal more as this season comes to a conclusion, if they kind of reveal a lot more of his motivation, would be really good. Episode 5 was absolutely fantastic overall. The game was really intense, and there were so many different decisions and things that you were thinking, like, how is that going to work? What does this mean? And asking yourself, what would I do in that situation? Because I have no idea. I was really feeling on edge whilst watching it and it all play out, and there was lots of misdirects, and the way that it ended leading up to the last episode was fantastic. And at the time of recording this, I'm about to watch the last episode now, and I am very excited. I'm also a little bit worried about how they're going to wrap up everything and if it's going to end in a satisfying way, but fingers crossed, I think they can do it. So I just got done watching the last episode and season finale of the entire Squid Game season 1 to 3, and straight after watching it, I feel a little bit mixed, and I'm very curious what a lot of other people think as well. Without spoiling anything, there was a point where it could have ended, or they could have rearranged the order of the ending to make it feel a little bit more satisfying. But overall, I feel that the ending is good, but also a little bit unsatisfying afterwards as well. The last episode itself was very intense, it was very emotional, it made me very anxious and kept my adrenaline going like a lot of the episodes in this season did. I think overall season 3 will probably be my least favourite, season 1 will be second, and season 2 will be my favourite overall. I think the show as a whole will probably get a solid 8 out of 10, as it is a fantastic concept. I think season 3 as a standalone is around a 7, but yeah, I'm just feeling very mixed on it. I'm almost a bit unsure of how to feel about it, which is weird. I'm quite curious how you guys think of it, and maybe my opinion will change over time once I've digested it a little bit more and thought about it, and also got other people's opinions and inputs on how it ended as well. Make sure you guys comment down below and let me know as well. I'll be curious to see what the discussions are like down there. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, that helps out a lot. Until next time.